Hello, my name's Tracy Mitchell. I am the MD at Just Trading Scotland. JTS is a social enterprise that imports fair trade food products from primarily Africa, but also Sri Lanka. And we then sell those products within the UK to a whole variety of outlets, ranging from schools and churches and community groups through to fairly large wholesalers. So COVID-19 has completely changed our sales makeup. We obviously are not selling to schools and churches and community groups well, almost nothing to those groups at the moment. Clearly schools aren't looking to buy and to take fair trade activities at this point. And most even community groups aren't buying, because although there might be a small amount of fair trade activity still happening in community groups, and I certainly spent last weekend delivering fair trade orders to people locally, but that's very low key. So we've seen a complete shutting down of that side of our business, and even our core fair trade shop customers. Most of those shops closed during lockdown. There's a small number of those that have started doing a level of click and collect, and we are starting to see a small number in England that are trialing reopening maybe one day a week. So we're starting to see a little bit of demand from those, but really reduced compared with what we would normally sell. The flip of that is that obviously online sales have dramatically increased in the UK during this period, and several of our customers that sell through a good online platform have increased their orders dramatically, and even our own online shop has seen a reasonable pickup in individuals ordering from the shop. I guess the key thing that happened was in March, we all know there was a big demand for toilet rolls and pasta and so on. We don't sell those, but we do sell rice. And we saw an amazing demand for rice in March. It's steadied off now, but it was all hands on deck to try and dispatch the amount of rice that we were being requested to, that people were ordering. In terms of the other impact, obviously we're trying to operate in a way that is safe for staff and customers, and that means we've implemented a business continuity sort of approach to operations, where we're only shipping twice a week, so that we reduce the number of people in the warehouse at any one time, and we're doing a lot of remote working. We were already partway through an application to Social Investment Scotland for a purchase order loan facility for some of the products that we're bringing in over the summer, for the seasonal demand in the autumn, and we concluded that application, and that's been approved. So those funds will be available to draw down on a loan basis, as essentially was part of our business plan anyway. That's not impacted by COVID. We have also applied to the Third Sector Resilience Fund and been successful in receiving a grant from them, in light of the anticipated significant reduction in our schools, churches, fair trade shops. And also significantly, our business plan had put in place new business from the autumn based on having work done in this period, and that's obviously not able to happen at the moment. So we have secured a grant through the Third Sector Resilience Fund, and that is giving us, it's giving us resilience at the moment. It's giving us the ability to keep going, and to try and work out what we can salvage is maybe too negative a word, but what we can achieve in the autumn, which will be very different from our original budget, but what we can achieve, and therefore what we might look to take into 2021. We were already planning to have sessions in March and April looking at how to take the business forward. We'd had a difficult couple of years, and the board had done work to say, right, well, this needs to be a year of putting building blocks in place for the future. And yeah, we're continuing with that, but obviously with a rather different context from what we'd anticipated. So I think it's too early to say anything that's substantially changed, but obviously that work is happening with COVID as the background. I guess the other thing that's probably worth highlighting is that we do import all our products from developing countries, and we have been running an appeal to support our producer groups in developing countries. We went out, sought information from them back in, I think it was mid-April, that we asked them how COVID was impacting them and what support they might need. And we've had requests for support from two of our producer groups, one in Malawi and one in the Kingdom of Eswatini, what used to be Swaziland. And we've done a public appeal to support them. And based on that, we've already made 2 grants, one to each of them, and we're hoping potentially next week to make further grants to them. I know that both of them have had decent publicity within their own countries for that grant support. I think in Malawi they've been on both the radio and in the local paper, with the fact that they've been able to buy PPE for the local health clinic, I think it is, that and in Swaziland a lot of the work is around education and making people aware of the need for hygiene and that sort of thing. Hand washing it, and with the first piece of work that we did with the farmers in Malawi was sending over money to provide really simple things like soap, simple approaches to taps and things so that people could wash their hands. We've had a few new customers, people, particularly when the rice was in demand for across the UK, we had a few people come to us because they heard that we had rice. So that's obviously something we now need to try and follow up and build on. You have to hope that there'll be a reawakening from the UK, from at least a proportion of the public, to the importance of business that does good as well as selling them whatever the products are. And certainly I've seen locally an increase in interest in local business, in business with a bit of a social bias as well. I think the whole thing that's happening around kindness and awareness of the needs of other people and so on is encouraging, that we might be thinking more about where your money's going and what the difference that makes is. So I hope that people will continue to buy more ethically as we come out of this. I think there's definitely something there around the climate change agenda, and whether people will realise the difference that this has made to the climate and start thinking about what that could mean longer term for their own purchasing or lifestyles. I guess on the downside, it certainly looks like we're going into a recession, significant recession, and as we head into that, anything that's more expensive potentially gets squeezed even more than other things. I guess again, the fact that we're in the food sector gives us some degree of confidence about the future, because people will always need food. They won't always need our particular brand of food, but they will always need food. So it's about then trying to encourage the people that have got the income or the combination of the interest in the food, the quality of the food, the ability to pay for it, and maybe the interest in the stories behind the food, to come to us for that. We're continuing to have interaction on social media about both what we're doing, but also we have shared stories about what some of our fair trade shops are doing around reopening and that sort of thing, and trying to support them in that, but also highlight therefore that we can supply food into that. We're continuing with the normal sort of approach in terms of a monthly mailing to each of our customer groups. Obviously it's taken a slightly different tone and content than it might have done, would have done if this hadn't been the case. We are well aware that our community newsletter is going out to people that largely at the moment can't actually be buying from us, and it's about, or can't be buying for their community group. They could potentially be buying just for themselves, and maybe promoting us to their friends as individuals to buy. But I guess, one of the things is to highlight on social media what we are trying to do, both for our producers, but also that we're still there and people can buy, whether it be Father's Day gifts from us or just food, because more people are eating at home. So there's, more people are looking for ideas on what different foods to cook or whatever.